Okay. I hear 4 o'clock. Could I call this meeting to order? Could I have an approve for the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any public comment? Okay. We don't have an engineer here today, but he did call. He's on the bridge in Essex, and evidently things are not going real well at this point. So we'll hope he gets off the bridge. He did do a survey, as I asked last week about the survey for the 4 10-hour days. He sent out 23 surveys. He got 20 back. He got one that didn't care. He got 5 that wanted the 8-hour days, and he got 14 that asked for the 4 10-hour days. So we're going to go for the 4 10-hour days. So that takes care of that. Okay. So we'll move on to Jeff Curtis for the Samuels Group on a jail update.
I don't get to follow JD. Well, then I'll say, what a beautiful day out here right now. So it's absolutely awesome out there. Yep, it's a beautiful day in Page County. So
Very good, Jeff.
I think we got that one. All right. So if anybody's been by the job site, we can see that there's a lot of stuff that's ongoing as we speak. Masons have laid some first course of the CMU block in the load-bearing walls area, kind of getting that avenue going. Stickler Concrete's in and out. We'll be back again tomorrow to continue on with remaining foundation, putting some foundations throughout the building. On site today, we had Northwest Erection. They are the crew that will be coming in for Enterprise Precast. They are the erection crew that will be doing all the wall panels, all the structural precast beams and the structural precast columns, along with setting all the roof planks. So they're on site today getting a lay of the land. We do have a coordination meeting with them on Monday, kind of go over the remaining logistics and necessary sequencing so we can maintain a safe work site for everybody with ongoing activities. So we'll continue on with that process. So once we have that meeting on Monday, we'll give a full report out to everybody concerning that. Other activities are ongoing. Of course, the electricians are working on their underground conduit works, making sure that we abide by the specs and the drawings with some of the structural requirements, do's and don'ts with that. So they're doing a really good job with that. Cunningham, the plumbing and HVAC, basically the plumbing contractor, has been working on what we call the deeper underground. Not a lot of deep work on this job site, but again, make sure everything flows the correct direction so we don't have any issues down the line. So they continue with that, working out a few logistics when it comes to some of the drains for the toilets and stuff inside of the jail, making sure we have the necessary clearances. So there's been a couple RFIs that have came out with that, which are, of course, requests for information from the architects and structural engineers. So everybody's been doing a really good job of communicating and maintaining the process going through. We are currently still trending to be setting precast at the end of this month. Originally it was designed for May 22nd or 23rd, but it's going to be the following Monday instead of starting on a Thursday. We may see them come on site with the necessary pipe shore bracing to hold the precast panels, the outside wall panels in position. You may see some of that mobilization going, and more than likely the crane will come on site latter part of that week, so we're ready to go. With that, when we start with our precast erection, we will have meetings with all the folks on site so everybody understands this is the planned route for all the trucks coming in, and then also this is where, unless you're part of the erection crew, you're not allowed in this area. We call it a CAZ zone, controlled access zone, again to maintain all the safety parameters with that. So ongoing with that. Other than that, everything as far as financials go, still trending like we need to be. Everything seems to be tracking really well on where we had projected. About the only other outstanding item that we'll be continuing to do is we will put out the fire suppression sprinkler system. We never did get a bid on that this go around. So the plan is to get that bid document out. Been talking to several of the sprinkies, we call them, And we've got, I know of 4 companies that are interested in placing a bid. So we'll get that out right away too. Hopefully we get some really good pricing on that. Everybody can understand state of the economy, got some fluctuation. It seems like everybody's getting a little hungry. So hopefully, like I said, we get some good bids on those, continue that process. Other than that, again, the plan will be in front of you guys every other week. Plan on at least being in person here at the board meeting once a month at a minimum. And then at the end of the week, you'll receive a weekly report out of activities that went on during the week. And then prior to each board meeting, kind of like what JD does, I'll give you a synopsis of what I'm going to talk about along with some pictures just for your reference. Everybody's able to access Procore, correct? With the daily logs, look at photos and stuff?
Yep. Looking at the photos, yeah.
Great. Any questions or any concerns with that whatsoever right
So
now?
will you put a fence up or anything to keep people out?
We had-
When you were talking about not letting people out or
Okay.
in?
Yeah, during the erection process, most definitely, it'll be flagged off 100% with that. And then, of course, where we have our trailers set at, we have good view of that also when people come in off of 71. If it's somebody that doesn't come in, let's say in a logo truck, if it's like a public person, or let's say a farmer comes in, we make sure that nobody gets up on side with that.
Thought about driving down, but I haven't.
Anytime you want to come down, all you have to do is just stop in where we did the groundbreaking. There's always somebody there from Samuel's group, unless of course it's a rainy day, then usually they won't be there. But when it comes to the overall safety, especially with the precast, we're talking wall panels are probably going to be upwards of 25,000 pounds. And then the flex core, depending on where we're at with that process and what plank they are, they'll range in weights quite a bit. And then we have the structural precast beams. Those are inverted T-style configuration, kind of like what you see when you go underneath the bridge. You get the precast members that look like upside down T. Same scenario. That's where our plank will start bearing on those. So, anytime you guys are welcome on site, please just stop in at the job trailer and reach out. Or if you guys want to set up a tour with anybody, let's say during the day or after hours, just let us know. We're available 24/7. Okay?
The pictures are really great. I don't know what I'm looking at, but they really look good.
The big thing that you should always look at on those is just, if it doesn't look right, please ask a question. Hey, this doesn't exactly, can you explain this to me? We will in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Did you add Kristen to that?
Yes,
Yeah.
she was able to get on that, so
Good.
we should be
Okay,
ready to
great.
go. So, again, pictures are worth 1,000 words. Sometimes good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Every now and then we'll see somebody without a pair of safety glasses on or something like that. My safety director looks at all the daily logs, and I'll get a phone call, or Mac will get a phone call, Brian will get a phone call. Hey, why don't they have their PPE on? So we do run the 3-strike policy. On the 3rd warning, they don't want to hit the 3rd warning, so they'll be asked to leave the job site. It's definitely something that is safety is very important, and it's a hard no stop for us.
Good.
So,
Thanks for keeping us up to date.
any point in time, any questions you may have right now, or any concerns?
No. Just fun to watch it.
Like I said, once we have the end of the month, first part of June, you'll really see some dramatic differences. In-ground stuff, a little bit slow, seems like. It doesn't look like until you see the aerials or the drone footage, then you can really see what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see the footprint start to take shape.
Yeah.
What the
The
building's gonna
drone, the
look
drone's
like.
been really fun, yeah.
Yeah, the plan is at the end of this week, the exterior perimeter with the foundation walls will be complete, and then the backfilling operations will continue and get that done. All the exterior foundation walls will have to be backfilled prior to the precast going up again, just for the safety avenue.
Yep.
All right?
Very interesting.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jeff.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Jeff.
Okay. Okay. Our next item is discuss action redrawing of district lines. At this point, we're just kind of talking the position. I think I'll let Kristen and Jim yesterday discussed some of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I gave you guys some of the codes here that we were looking at yesterday. Jim, do you have a copy of that we were looking at?
Can you talk a little bit close?
Oh, sorry.
louder? Yeah.
Do you have a copy of those codes we were looking at yesterday?
I think if you sent it to me, I printed it out today.
Okay, I printed one for you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So basically, we've just kind of gone over the temporary county redistricting commission, and we need to appoint members, and we were looking at it, and the chair of the county central committee for the parties are the ones that will appoint them. So I talked to Jennifer Harrington for the Democrats and Brian Whip for the Republicans and asked them to get us some names. And I gave them the deadline of next week because we need to have this done by May 15th. So next week we need to vote them in.
What was the
We'll have to
Democrat
do
name?
a resolution.
Jennifer Harrington.
Jennifer Harrington. Okay.
How many people is on this board?
So we'll have to have 5. It'll be 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. 5 Republicans because the Board of Supervisors is majority Republican. So Wright County has recently done this, and so I've reached out to them for some extra guidance, and I've reached out to Secretary of State. They're slow getting back to us. And I gave you we're a Plan 2, so I gave you that code also in there, just so you can look through it. So do you guys have questions?
One of the things that I don't think we talked to the board about is that the board shall determine the size of the membership of the temporary county redistricting commission. So it could be 3, 5, or 7 members. When Kristen and I were talking, we felt that 5 probably is a good number for the commission that we're putting together.
So what makes us go into the Plan 2?
Yeah, we're gonna be Plan 2.
We are
we're
a Plan 2.
county is basically, so we're always Plan 2.
Supervisors are Plan 2 in Page County, which means that we are, we live in the district, but we are elected by the whole county. That's what a Plan 2 is.
And that would be what at large, because we
Yeah.
vote at large for the supervisors.
Everybody gets to do that. And in 21, there were, in a temporary
Temporary
Redistricting.
redistricting commission,
then 5 people were chosen at that point.
because we
And-
do that every 10 years
Yeah.
with the census.
And at that point, who was it? It was,
So we can use those people,
Yeah.
Secretary of State said, but one of the Democrats has moved out of the county, and one of the Republicans is very pregnant.
yeah. So that'll be up to them to choose whether they leave them on there again or whatever. So we'll get those done and then we'll move forward with that. Once those are chosen, if you read this, once those 5 people are chosen, then we start looking at the whole federal census from
2021.
And then you start looking at
You have to have
dividing
that
it into
by
the
December
5,
15th. Yep.
into the 5 districts. And they have to be,
Equal.
did you figure that, did you look, is
So
it
this,
5%? What's the, I've forgotten how many the overage is. It has
So
to be
the
as close.
commission must divide the county into 5 equal population districts by December 15th, 2025.
But what's the, as close as they can be?
Yeah, I don't know what the
It's
percentage is.
like within 5% or 10% or whatever, I can't remember what it is, but it has to be really close. So, yeah, anyway. As close as it can be to the,
Because after they have done that, I mean, the auditor's office has to go into every voter and update them.
oh yeah, it's a massive project. But there's a bunch of, yeah, go ahead, you guys take these home and read them. We'll all take them home and read them and see how confusing we can all get. And,
But I just encourage you, if you have questions, just email me, because I can, reach out to my sources to try to get the answers.
because it will be a different thing about, people will still have the opportunity to question and to decide whether they like the plan, the 5 districts.
Yeah, we'll have to set public hearings.
So, yeah, to make sure it's all fair, and not everybody's gonna like whatever it's done, I'm sure. But to try to do it as good as we can. So anyway, it does get very confusing. And it is going to be a massive,
Just like everything in government.
yeah, it's gonna be a very massive thing for the auditor's office to switch everything, and it's going to affect the senators and the the representatives.
Well, we might have to do all new precincts as well.
Yeah, it will be.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah,
How will it affect the senate, like the state senators and Republicans?
yeah, because I mean, it
Read.
will just depend on how their
How they read
divisions
budgets?
are
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
precincts. But they'll have to change everybody and putting them in the right places where they go to vote and everything else. So it's gonna take a lot once it's set. But at least they'll have some time to get it done before the next election. So anyway, just remember that we're gonna have a lot of work for them to do. So anyway, so hopefully next week we'll hear back from the two people with names.
Yeah, we'll have to have that on the agenda to do a resolution for
Yes.
next week.
Yes. Okay. So we have that resolution as we did in 21.
Yeah, I'll just copy the one from
Yeah.
21 and I'll make sure Jim looks at it to make
Okay.
sure it's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So our next item on the agenda is the appointment by the Page County Attorney for Marianne Gibson to the Page County Civil Service Commission. So do we have a motion?
We don't need a motion, we just.
Oh, we don't need a motion, we
No,
just,
because Jim does it.
Jim
We just-
does it.
Yep, just.
We just need to talk about
Okay.
it so
Okay.
that we can
I
put it in the
appointed her,
minutes.
So we're good.
Okay.
For information, she
Yeah.
has been appointed, her term ended on her last term at the end of April.
Okay. So
And
we're
so
just,
she'll have a 6-year term.
so we're just taking you're just appointing her and we're putting it in our minutes.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. All right. So nothing, okay. Okay, we'll move on to number 9, to discuss action resolution setting public hearing and acceptance of sealed bids on the proposed sale of the county property, resolution 1825, which is the engineers building.
And I sent you guys the resolution, but we need to have a minimum bid. JD would like it to be 40,000 for the low bid, just, that's what he told me to
Okay.
ask you guys tonight, but it's totally up to you.
Okay. And what Jason gave us was just a suggestion,
Yes.
was the 52,140. So it's up to us to do whatever we want to do.
Guess it depends on how quickly we want to sell it.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we could put 40,000 and then see what happens. But I don't know.
You can always reject it.
yeah,
We've had one person interested in looking at it, so the the engineer's office, offered to give tours to anybody, and we're gonna put all this on the website so
Okay.
that it's for everybody to know.
Yep.
So they offered to give tours to anybody that wants to see it. And then we'll get everything on the website. They were gonna take some pictures possibly too.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
I think it's good to do that, to put it on the website so that everybody can have the opportunity to look at it and see.
Yeah.
So they've had one interested party that asked for bid paperwork. And then I talked to somebody at Bank Iowa that was wanting information as soon as it's ready.
So whatever you want to put on the minimum bid that Jim can put in the
Let's go with
resolution.
what JD suggests.
It's whatever you guys
Or,
want to do.
I mean,
They said 52 from the assessor, so I'd say a little higher maybe. But
A little
45.
higher?
45.
maybe
We can always go-
45.
Always go down. I would think he would know the the value better than
Yeah,
anybody actually.
it is a good location. So what is, so we put that minimum bid out, or, we have that minimum bid, and we do sealed bids. We do not receive anything that meets the minimum bid. Then we can we can rebid, or we can drop that, or,
You could. So what would have to happen is you would have to start back with another resolution setting a new minimum bid. And the expense to the county would be, then that notice has to be published again in the paper, and there'd have to be a subsequent hearing. So there is some small cost. I'm not sure what it costs for the notice in the paper, but it will require more time and then a little bit more publishing, notice, a little bit more cost for the publication of the notice, but that's the only thing it's costing you.
are we required to do any inspections or anything like that on it? as a
No,
property, or-
the way it's been, I've created the paperwork is essentially they're buying the building as is.
As is.
And they'll have an opportunity to walk through it, but we're transferring it using a quitclaim deed, so we're not bringing the abstract up to date, which would probably cost
Yeah.
$800 to $1,200. And then we're just transferring whatever interest we have in the property to the bidder, and they're responsible for bringing the abstract up to date if they want to do that, or inspecting the building.
Okay.
What Jason sent to JD was, I came up with a value of $52,140. Let me know if you have any questions. I had to estimate a few things, but I shouldn't really change the value unless there's a basement under it, which there isn't. So that's what he just came up with.
Yeah, I just didn't want, to your point, we have to keep going. You may not sell it at 40,000 or 45,000. And, I guess it's, how much time do we want to spend on trying to get it sold, or trying to not make money, but trying to get a decent price out of a used building, versus getting it off our books and back on the tax books, I guess.
And I guess one of the things we need to think about too is the location.
Yeah,
It's just right off the square.
Yeah, it's a nice location.
So is the location worth something?
Sure.
Right off the square, if they even want to tear it down, whatever, I don't know. So it's whatever you want to do.
How many square feet is that? Do you remember?
I don't know.
No,
I don't remember how
I've seen
big-
the abstract, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have that in there. It's a
Okay.
pretty good sized building.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, it was used as a doctor's office. They had a number of examination rooms and things in it that they've built around since 1981.
okay.
Does it go clear to the alley to the north? So is it
Yeah, it is.
full half block?
Yeah, it goes to the back,
Yeah, the parking lot. it
Goes
was
it
good.
clear?
so they could add on to it. Yeah. I don't think 50 is too much, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I would make a motion that we do above, since JD went 40 and Brian wants 45, or thought 45, how about 42.50? Meet in the middle.
Sounds good.
42.
For a minimum, yeah,
42.5?
42.50, yep, 42.5 as a minimum. We'll see how it goes.
Is that do we have to make a motion on this, Steve? Not a motion.
Yeah, I think we have to fill in this resolution, so,
It'll be at the end.
or, yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's a motion, 42.5?
Yes.
Okay,
that's
is
my
there a
motion.
second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Guess we'll go for 42.5.
That's a motion to pass the resolution then?
Do you want to approve the resolution in the same motion,
Yeah.
or do a separate motion?
Now let's just do it all for the resolution 18. We'll just make that for 42,500 for resolution 18. That's okay. Does that work, Ben?
Well, we're supposed to make a resolution for setting a public hearing. So when would we want to do that?
So that's going to
Or
be,
is that-
we talked about that,
We've
that's
already-
going to be May 20th.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
right.
we'll put the,
Okay,
we'll put the public notice in the paper, and it will be in on
The
the
14th.
14th. All bids will need to be received to the auditor's office by 1 o'clock. It says that up here in the,
On the 20th.
oh,
the
yeah.
resolution.
Yep, I gotcha, okay.
and then we will have, so on the 20th, we'll do the, public hearing first, and then we'll do the meeting right after. Just like we did with the public hearings for the budget. If that works for you guys, I mean, you guys have to decide.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be fine.
That everything work? That take care of it all, Kristen? Okay,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to to board communication.
I had, let's see, I had a SUPCA meeting, and I also had EMA and E911 meeting. And one of the things I did want to bring up to the board, just because, and I know, I think Summers probably talked to Kristen about some of this, but, so we have to move the console from the, which we've talked in previous meetings about, that is quite a price tag. And I'm a little bit concerned about where we're gonna get the money for that move. It was not part of the bid for for the jail. And it's close to $300,000. What we've got to, well, yeah, I guess Tony's left. I thought Tony was still here. But yeah, so this, and I should have brought my notes, but Zetron, I think, is the one entity, and the state is helping us with that. They're paying some of it, and we're still having to pay, I think, $93,000 for that, and they're paying like $200 or something like that.
Are
So we'll
they
have to come-
upgrading that?
Huh?
They're upgrading the Zetron part of it?
Yep, and they're moving, but they said since we're getting upgraded, I think then they're gonna move it, or they'll help, the state will help with the move, since there's already some stuff being done, but you still have Motorola, and then there's another entity, I think, that we have to pay
Okay,
quite a bit for.
so we'll have to pay the 93,000 or the 300,000.
Well, it'll be like 200 and some thousand, it's close to 300.
Okay.
It's not quite 300,
That we have
but
to
it's,
pay.
yeah, that we'll
Okay.
have to come up with, because it's like 500,000 altogether.
Okay,
And so
Want or need?
it has to happen.
It has to.
Yes, by the state, it has to. I mean, if we have a 911 center, we have to have these people move the console.
No, I mean,
It's,
does it have, 911 has to move right away?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
well,
why is
it'll
it-
move once the jail is done, so in 2026. Now, we don't have to, we might be able to figure out, hopefully in the 2026 budget, or the next
The next
budget that we
budget.
do it to cover that, and maybe that's something that but I just wanna make sure everybody's still thinking about that,
Right.
because that is a big chunk of change, and it's not something we have a choice whether we're gonna do or not, we have to do it.
And we probably have some local option that we could do.
Okay, but just.
But we'll be
yeah,
thinking between now and then
Yep,
what we'll have to
Just-
do.
yeah, so it's not, and
Yeah.
I don't know that it's all due at once either, I mean, I
Right.
think you could probably space it out a little bit and pay, but they also don't understand how our billing does work, and so Summer said she was a little disappointed with that, because they were, oh, you could just pay it,
Yeah,
this much, and she goes, I don't have the money coming in yet, so.
so we'll be
Um,
keeping that in the back of our minds.
Yes,
Okay.
keep that. The other thing I did, yesterday, I met with Margaret Brady, and she is now the chairperson of the Shenandoah Vision Foundation, and so she just met and kind of went through what things they're working on from a Shenandoah standpoint, and they have several committees looking at housing, recreation, tourism, all good stuff, and I think Clarendon is doing the same thing. I'm not sure exactly what that group is called in Clarendon, but each town in Page County got some money. So even Imogene, Essex, Coyne, they all got a little bit of money for projects in their community, help betterment of the community and things, and so. It was nice just to sit down and understand, kind of go through some of the stuff that they were going through and going to be looking at over this coming year. So, I got an email today from Zion, and it sounds like they're having some difficulties financially, so they may have to take a loan. So from the bank to get by just a little bit. So there's a suit that's pending that they're still trying to get money paid back to them that's owed them that they haven't been able to recoup, and so it's caused a little bit of financial strife.
Goodness.
So hopefully they'll be able to get things turned around. So.
Okay.
Landfill meeting last Thursday night, everything's going good,
Good.
good meeting.
Okay. And I had an interagency meeting today. It's going well.
I did have somebody email me about, or reach out to me, I guess, through message, just to ask about the mowers last week that we approved to buy, and wondering if there was we should have taken bids on those instead of just, is that something that we, in hindsight, maybe we should have done?
I don't know whether they did or not.
Yeah, so I don't
don't
know. The only thing I could correlate is it was John Deere getting traded into another John Deere. So I thought, well, it's probably,
Yeah, and I
Just-
don't know whether they took bids or not.
okay.
So
that was something somebody asked, and,
that would be a question for the conservation board.
yep, okay.
So I know there's some issues going on with the,
And I have one more thing. I just thought,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
all kinds of things going
so
on. And they,
the one thing I've been thinking about is with the Samuels group, and they come and do their updates weekly, or we get some kind of weekly update. I was wondering how everybody felt about getting Mid-American to come in and do updates on the wind project, just to kind of understand where they're at with it, what's being done, what are they tackling right now, what's going on in our county, just to get an update from whoever's heading that project. Because I think it would be good, because I don't know people call me, and I don't know what to tell them, except that, yeah, I think I know where the roads are that they're coming in on, or what they're putting stuff in, but this was just, you know, the citizen that called and we've talked to. I just thought, you know, that would be something that we could do to at least make everything at least public aware that, hey, this, you know, this is where the project is, this is what's happening. So if anything, just to calm some fears maybe and
I haven't seen anything from him, have you, as far as emails or nothing?
no. And I just thought it'd be nice if we could, and I think we have that person's card that, from Mid-American that was here. I'll have to go back. I think I have it, but if you want, I can reach out just to see if they'd be willing to give updates to us, you know, and maybe it's not every week, but maybe every other week like Samuel's group or just through emails or whatever, just so that we have something to, you know, at least know how the project's going, because otherwise, if we don't know, I mean, we signed off on this and there's some expectations, and also, how do we know the placement of those turbines were set on our, when we, basically signed that agreement and we had set locations and everything on the maps. How do we verify that that's where those are getting placed? You know, and that they're not, hey, well, we ran into problems, so now we're just gonna move it, you know, 500 feet over this way. So I think there needs to be some kind of checks and balance, that they're living up to their side of the agreement and we know what's going on.
Do they still
you
have an
want-
office? Sorry.
I was just gonna say,
yeah.
do you wanna ask them to do a tour like like JD has
Well-
done with the roads? And have them take you guys on a tour as
I
well?
don't necessarily need that, I guess, but, I mean, if that's something I mean, but I just would like them to come in and say, hey, here's, you know, we're putting in the access roads to all, and here's where they're at, and this is what we're seeing, this is what we've been doing, so that at least if citizens call us, we can say, yep, they're doing this, and this is where it's going, and it's not gonna be as close to your house as you think it is, and it's, you know, they've gotta go over the hill and whatever. Cause I couldn't even give an answer to that.
And I would assume that he's been doing it with the band,
Okay.
because he's been, you know, with the roads and stuff, but I
Right.
don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Do they still have somebody asked me,
I
do they
don't
still have
think
an
Invenergy
office?
has an office there.
Okay,
So
because somebody asked me the other
I've
day,
been
and I
by
said, I
there,
don't
but I
have a
never
clue.
see anybody there, so I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I think it would be a good idea to have them come and,
Just
you know, just
keep us
update.
informed.
Yeah, I don't
if
know that they
anything.
need to come often, but if they
Right.
would just come, you know, if you
Yep.
would maybe get a hold of them and have them come like next week or whatever and just update us and
Okay.
what's going on.
I'll reach out to them. And,
Yeah,
And back to your point about who is making sure that your ordinance was followed.
Right.
10 feet deep and,
Yeah.
I mean, who's looking after that? That was always my
Yeah,
thought
and-
all along is, you can make whatever rules you want, but who's gonna be enforcing these?
Right. Yeah, and I
Who's watching over this?
don't know.
yeah.
And that's, you know, something that crossed my mind too is, you
Yeah,
know,
you can put all kinds of rules in that ordinance you
Right.
want, but who's gonna?
and I don't have a long enough tape measure to go out and measure every one of them, so.
Yeah, so you want to just call them and,
Yep, I'll set up something.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, next thing is, discuss action, approve claims.
I'll make a motion that we approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discuss action, meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Make a
Yeah.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're always quick to do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to approve at 4:39.